All right, finally. Welcome to the very first episode of Weeb the People.
That's us and you.
Guys, this is about our. I think we did at least a dozen checks. We're having some audio issues, so but we finally figured it out. So welcome to the very first episode. I am your host. My name is Jay. Let me introduce you to my co-host over here, sitting to my right, your left. Go ahead, introduce yourself, buddy.
Inverted controls are not my specialty. I am Robert, also known as Cars and Cosplay.
Yeah.
As you could tell by cars and
Oh,
shit.
dude, we gotta when we get better at this, we're gonna have to actually put your Instagram handle on the screen.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to. Oh yeah, we'll have to overlays. We're gonna do overlays.
That's gonna
Listen, we're gonna have some cool shit in the future. We've dialed in a lot already, just at the beginning. So it's gonna be dope.
Well, if it wasn't already obvious enough by the name, I think
anime.
It's gonna be about anime mostly. It's gonna be mostly about anime. We might talk about some other things too, like I don't know, baking.
Yeah, I mean tangential topics. There's animes about all kinds of things now. There's powerlifting anime and cooking anime and
no, there's no powerlifting anime yet.
Okay, so I don't know anything about weightlifting.
There's a lifting anime.
There we go. Whatever.
How heavy are the dumbbells you lift?
Yeah, so that's what I meant. All right, let's go with that.
Yeah, so there is a lifting anime. No powerlifting anime yet. I don't know.
It's power to me.
I guess.
Wait a minute. There's a Lemillion power.
No, that's not. Is that Lemillion?
Yeah. It's been a long time since I watched.
Because you sounded like Arnold, not Lemillion. I was like, that's not how Lemillion sounds like.
I'm Lemillion.
Oh, that's a good Arnold. That's actually a good Arnold. Now can you say?
I go to My Hero Academia.
Yeah, can you say get to the chopper now?
Get to the chopper now. All right.
That's a great Arnold.
Back to it.
Dude, Robert does not lift. He actually has a sticker on the car that says "We don't lift." Although
actually
you
a
told
racing
me,
term.
yeah, you actually told me that it doesn't have anything to do
Double
with
meanings.
the weightlifting. It actually has something to do with the lift of the car.
The
right?
throttle.
Okay. I thought it had something to do with off the ground.
I mean, you don't want lift on that either.
Oh, okay.
But no, you don't lift off the throttle. In other words, you just full send it, everything, floor it, and go.
Shit. Well, despite the fact that he doesn't really lift, that was a very good Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, I must say.
Instead of spending time lifting, I spend time doing Arnold impressions. Not really.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I guess you could idolize Arnold Schwarzenegger without having to lift at all. I mean, he was a decent action movie superhero.
T2, baby.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay. See, we already got on the tangent.
Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Guys, if it wasn't already obvious, the show is gonna be about anime. It's gonna be all about anime. How I actually the reason why I wanted to do this podcast in the first place was because I was listening to another podcast. It's called The Powercast by Mark Bell. That one is actually about powerlifting, although they don't talk about anime. They might talk about Dragon Ball Z every now and then, but that's about the extent of it. And on one of the episodes, Mark Bell was discussing how he came up with the invention, the slingshot, which is what really helped. Well, he was a breakout name in powerlifting already, but the slingshot was the invention that kind of made him go mainstream. Mm-hmm. And when they were talking about how he got the idea for creating the slingshot, he basically said, well, I got injured as a bench presser a lot, and there wasn't anything out there on the market that would allow me to work around the injuries while I was injured and I couldn't bench press. So he created the slingshot, which allowed him to do exactly just that. So he was like, well, I looked at the market. There wasn't anything that was fulfilling the need that I had as a consumer. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to design my own product. And I thought to myself, well, okay, there's not really a podcast dedicated to stuff that I really like to talk about, which is anime. And a whole bunch of other stuff like fitness, nutrition, and like dating, like relationships, intersexual dynamics, that kind of stuff. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna fucking create one myself. And so now here we are. The overarching narrative is going to be about anime, but we're also going to be talking about a lot of different things, which we'll get into as we get further into the episode. But the show is basically going to be broken down into 3 segments, right? The first segment is going to be Anime Mondays. How do you like that name?
It's clever.
Yeah.
It's punny.
Yeah,
weavery.
It did not take me too long to come up with that one. But Anime Mondays is basically I'm pretty
Anime
sure.
on Monday.
Yeah.
So what anime comes out on Monday? I don't usually
I
follow
think a lot
schedule.
of them actually come out on Mondays.
Yeah. I don't know. I never keep track. I never keep up on things like as they come out.
Yeah, you know how like back in the early 2000s you had like Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
So every Saturday you'd always be waiting in front of the TV for like
Hell yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon.
Power Rangers, bro.
Yeah. No,
Was that
Power
on in the
Rangers?
morning? I don't remember. I was like 5, 10 years old.
I was
in the
watching
90s.
Power Rangers when I was in the Philippines.
I just gave away my age.
Yeah. But the first segment is basically going to be talking about and reviewing, critiquing either past, present, or future shows that's going to be coming out. And we're going to discuss all the cool stuff about it, like the plot, the characters. But my main goal with the Anime Days segment is to basically get people a little bit more involved in the industry.
Yeah, industry is going to be a big part of this. So we're going to be going over not just the anime itself, but the back end of the anime. What's the publishers of the manga? What are the authors? Who are the directors, writers, composers? Who are the studios producing these? Who are some of the artists? Like to going into the background of this and get the nitty gritty. Because it's an important part of the vetting process. Because there's 8 kajillion anime. No matter how much of a neat you are, you ain't going to watch them all.
Yeah.
So we need a way to dial that down, and learning these little intricacies helps you do that.
Yeah, dude, because it's like, I was thinking, even if I had all the time in the world to watch anime, at the minimum, every single season, there's at least 2 to 3 dozen titles that come out every single fucking season.
And that's just what we see like on the mainstream Crunchyroll.
Exactly. Not any of like the French stuff that comes out too. And there's only so much time you're going to be able to spend to watch these new series, because we have responsibilities outside of being weebs, right?
Like eating so that you can continue being a weeb for slightly longer.
And working so you can pay for the Crunchyroll subscriptions.
You pay for Crunchyroll?
Whoa.
I'm kidding. I pay for my Crunchyroll. Pay for my Crunchyroll.
Like you joke? Like how did you manage that? How did you get a free Crunchyroll?
No, but somebody did hack my account from France once.
Oh no, dude! You know what? I think people used to finesse. There used to be a way to finesse Crunchyroll because I think
they had the guest passes.
The guest passes, yeah, exactly. Like 2-day guest passes, and then people would just be sharing the damn guest pass.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still a thing, but
I don't know. I never shared my guest passes.
It was one way to finesse Crunchyroll, but yeah, like there's only so much time that you could spend watching anime. As much as we like anime, we've got responsibilities outside of being weebs, right? We've got work, right, to pay for the Crunchyroll subscriptions, like we said. Some of us have relationships, right, significant others. Some of us might have kids, and despite what people think, weebs actually do have a social life.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have cosplay conventions and all these weekend events. I mean, especially here in the local area, there's events almost every weekend. And if weebs weren't social creatures, as antisocial as weebs tend to be with their social anxieties, they wouldn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people tend to forget that weebs are people too.
That sucks.
Yeah. We're also
being
people,
I mean.
Yeah, so like my buddy Robert was talking about, we want to give you guys a vetting criteria so that you can sift through all of these different titles that come out every single season, because there's a lot that comes out. And what I've noticed, even with really staunch anime fans, is that they have a very surface level understanding of the industry, right? They know the titles that they want to watch, right? They know the characters, they know the plots, but I'll come up to somebody like, hey, do you know the manga who wrote this work? Like the new like the new kid in the block, right? The hot new kid in the block, Jujutsu Kaisen, right? JJK.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't gonna know that that was a manga prior to becoming animated, and it's been a manga for quite a while.
Yeah.
And probably not many people are going to know who the author is, what magazine was published.
I would say with this one, they definitely wouldn't know. They probably wouldn't know what magazine. I think the only magazine most weebs know is Shonen Jump.
Yeah.
But I would say this one, I think most people, not most, but a lot of the weebs do know there's a manga for this one, because there's plenty of people who got so much hype for the anime that people went like, I need more. So it's one of the few I think that people did go and dive into the manga for. But I think your point stands for a lot of the other anime where it's like, source material. What's source material?
What's source material, right?
Yeah.
Everybody always asks, what's the sauce?
Yeah.
But then
They say it ironically, but then it's like, wait a minute, no, what is it though? Like,
yeah.
is it Alfredo? Marinara? I don't. Is there meat?
I am
Garlic? I
actually
don't
a big
know.
fan of pesto, man. I love pesto.
Pesto.
It's because of all the oil. in
It's
it.
okay, but Alfredo's my go-to.
Yeah. Oh, Alfredo's good if done correctly, but
Yeah.
You know why? It's like the fattiest sauce. But yeah, dude, you're gonna have here's the thing. The way that I look at it is here in the West, right? We're really big on movies and entertainment here. If a new movie comes out, like I'm a big Chris Pratt fan. Like I think he's handsome, I think he's charming, I think he's very funny. And I have not seen a single Chris Pratt show or movie that I've disliked, right? I haven't seen him in anything that I've disliked. So if Chris Pratt comes out with a film, I'm gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna check that out, right? So knowing the actor is part of the vetting, like my vetting process.
Yeah, that's a big one. And I think a lot of you probably do this already. Maybe some of you don't even realize it. Where just like you said, like, oh, I don't know anything about this movie, but I know I like that actor, so I'm going to go check it out. And it's the same thing with anime. You look, voice actors, Steve Bloom, we all know. As soon as I see his name in something, I'm like,
Yep.
I'm interested. And the same thing goes not just with actors, but directors, right? And composers. So if I see like Shinichiro Watanabe and Yoko Kanno on
Dude,
the name,
yeah.
I know it's going to be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's going to be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. If you guys are familiar with the Final Fantasy series, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are, Uematsu, right? He's one of the top composers in the industry. Like he made the name for himself within the video game industry by composing for Square and Square Enix when they merged, right? So it's like these are things that we want to educate the broad fan base about, so that not only are they going to be able to involve themselves into more of the anime culture, but they're also going to be able to, like we said, right? You're gonna have a way to vet new series that comes out, right? Because for example, one of my favorite production studios is Madhouse. Every single time Madhouse comes out with a
Underrated.
show, really?
I mean, I think in recent times underrated because there's so much attention now on like Mappa especially. I barely ever hear anybody say anything about like Madhouse or Bones.
Dude, what the?
I know, right?
What the fuck?
This is just me.
Guys,
What
okay.
about you guys tell me, right?
All right, so Madhouse and Bones are top tier production studios in Japan, man. Some of the best animated, like some of the best works that have transitioned into anime were produced by Madhouse. So if I look at the oncoming series for the next season, right, and I see, okay, Madhouse produced this, bro, like it's gonna be on my list because you know that it's probably gonna be a big budget type of show, right? If they're gonna get at least 12 episodes and possibly 2. Have you seen Overlord?
Oh hell yeah, I've
Dude,
seen
Overlord, guys.
Bro, hell yeah.
Bro, so it's like one of those isekais that it's a lot like other isekais, but just the animation of it and the battle scenes is so aesthetically pleasing to watch that even if the plot doesn't really get too deep, it's still a pleasure to watch it, right? And that's by Madhouse. So it's like if I see something coming out in the next season and Madhouse is producing it, that's gonna go on my list, man.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Kyoto Animation, I know I'm gonna get my heart broken. I'm in for it. I'm there for it. So like, Violet Evergarden, of course, sold me on that, and then everything else I've seen pop out of there. I'm still behind on so many things, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna cry when I see this.
Yeah.
Even if it's not just from the emotional investment, just the stunning visuals.
Yes.
Their sunsets and sunrise colors are always just like, that color palette.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, vetting that process, there's so many different criteria and metrics you can use to narrow
Dude,
down.
how about authors, man? Let's talk about the authors.
Authors?
Dude, authors do not get
Enough credit
not
because
enough
most
times they don't
weebs,
get their flowers, bro.
because most weebs are casuals, filthy casuals that just watch anime. No, I'm kidding. I haven't read a lot of manga.
There's nothing wrong about being like a casual viewer, right?
Yeah.
But you're gonna gravitate towards like your favorite shows, and I think it would be smart. Like if you're a casual viewer and you're a really big fairy tale fan, you're gonna want to know who the author is, who the illustrator is, so that you can follow their works, right? It's the same thing with a lot of things in the entertainment and pop culture industry, right? For movies, for television shows, for music, right?
Music I think is an especially good one because when you hear a band, you're like, oh, I love this band. But
Yeah.
if you don't like learn who the members of the band are, you don't realize, oh, they have this other project. Oh, they're in this other band that sounds
Precisely.
even better.
Precisely.
So when you learn that thing and you have those components and tools to work with, you know that you could look for that name and see what it's attached to and be like, oh, I'm probably going to like this because I like the way this person writes or whatever.
Yes, precisely. And I think, especially if anything, you guys really would get a lot of benefit from knowing the author of this original source material that the anime is being adapted from, because a lot of the big favorites, the same authors are creating are writing them out, right? Like for example, Togashi is probably he's my second most favorite mangaka of all time, and he authored and illustrated Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, and Hunter x Hunter is my favorite shonen series of all time, and Togashi is probably considered one of the best authors in Japan. Not just in terms of like sheer volume, like volume number of sales, right? In the manga, in merchandise, in eyes on the screen, when it comes to viewership, he's also considered one of the best writers in the industry.
And boy, does he write. If any of y'all are caught up on Hunter x Hunter, it's like a light novel.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant. That's the key.
Yes. You know what the most common complaint that I get is from people who watch Hunter x Hunter?
Too much exposition?
It's too much fucking exposition.
Well, maybe they need to go watch Michael Bay films. Ooh, explosions, pretty. Ooh.
Well, see, like that's a good point, right?
And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. And if for superficial reasons and you just like good visuals and explosions, that's cool too.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
even if we're Josh and you screwing around, it's all valid, bro.
And even if you're not somebody who enjoys like exposition like that, well, maybe you avoid Togashi as an author and you don't really follow any of his work. But I mean, I'm biased towards Togashi, so I think you're missing out if you pass on his work. But you know, if you look at the Hunter x Hunter manga, the guy's panels are filled with text. But he doesn't just word vomit just for the hell of it. Like the reason why he has to write out so much is because he's giving you as much detail as possible about the plot and the characters. And at least for him, I think Togashi does it effectively. Because some authors will word vomit and then you're like, I just don't want to get through it.
Yeah, if the content matters.
Precisely.
Just having a lot of content isn't the same thing as having a lot of good content. So what are the characters discussing? What is the dialogue? Why is that text box so long? If it's something that's relevant, like, yo, they're just dropping bomb after bomb, then yeah, we're going to read through it. But if it's just like, yo, this character's just ranting and I really don't care, you're just going to look at the pictures and start flipping through and you're going to lose interest overall.
You know how like some authors, they'll spend so much time just describing the background? Like I could understand if you want to pass through that, but when Togashi word vomits, he's describing something extremely important about the character or the plot or something about the interaction that you want to pay attention to.
Yeah, and it's going to tie into something later, or it's going to give you information that's completely relevant to what's going on. And a lot of he's not unique in that aspect. He's just fantastic at it. He's a good example of it. But that's an example of what you might look for when you're vetting. Yeah. Like, hey, what's the writing and exposition like? Can I expect it to be relevant, or am I just going to have superfluous content? So it's just kind of just skip through, like filler content or anything like that.
Yeah, and then and it's funny because my favorite mangaka of all time is Mitsuru Adachi sensei, and he's the complete opposite. He's the complete opposite. What Togashi does well, because he's like a wordsmith, Adachi, I've heard somebody describe Adachi sensei as somebody who's good with economy of emotion. Like That's a good phrase. His characters don't have to say much to tell a lot, right? They can speak very little, but tell you so much.
Yes.
Right? From how they look at each other, like it's body language, like a touch, a look, something along those lines. And it's like he's really good at communicating the human condition. And he's really good at communicating relationships between people without having to say much. And that's what really helped me gravitate towards his work. So he's complete opposite of Togashi, right? He's economy of emotion. The less words, the better.
Yeah, similar vein, Kentaro Miura, unfortunately has passed, as
Can you remind me?
many of you know. I am certainly going to remind you right now, Berserk.
Oh, yes,
so a lot of the emotion
I never
and
actually got
content.
into Berserk, so...
Well, I'm going to make you. I'm going to make you too. All of you. And you. No, don't hide from me. You too. Wow, that was cringe. But yeah, a lot of it is he's known for his art. It's impeccable. Don't think I've seen better art in manga, at least on a consistent level. Like there's manga where I see like a frame that's really good, but Kentaro's art through and through, every frame is incredible, and it conveys so much. So even without dialogue, you could be like, wow, this character is hurting emotionally. Wow,
Yes.
this character is going through it right now, because it could show so much expression, and so he doesn't need a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of variety in what you sort through, what you choose, but knowing the writing style and who wrote it, who's doing the authorship, who's doing the illustrations, is going to help you narrow that down.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you guys are big fans of Death Note, I guarantee you, not a lot of people know that was a duo that created that series. Yeah,
It's actually often, duos is very common.
different author, different illustrator.
Yeah, that's very common.
It's crazy because they actually have another work called Bakuman, and
Man.
I think it tells. I'm not exactly sure of their history, but I think they wrote Bakuman to tell their story, because Bakuman is about a duo. One's a writer, one's an illustrator, and how they combine forces to get into Jump
Yeah, I think it's
and become the top title in Jump, the top
Yeah.
author and illustrator in Shonen Jump.
yeah, I don't think it's about them specifically so much as the industry as a
Yeah.
generalization.
Yeah.
Because it's, and I really like that in anime too, when they convey things about real life. Like I think it was a New Game Plus I saw, and
There's a show called New Game Plus.
it's not an isekai.
Okay.
This girl graduates from college and she goes into game engineering, and she's like doing software development and coding, and it's a lot of the same stuff that real life people do. It doesn't glamorize, like it glamorizes somewhat, but there's parts where it's like, oh wow, I have to sleep in the office because I've been at this for 14 hours
Dude.
and the deadline's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it shows like the ugly, realistic side of things, the
Yes.
code failing and things not going right, and I love when that realism is put
Yeah.
into things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bakuman was so great because it really illuminated exactly just how difficult it is to not only get into Shonen Jump, but to maintain a top position. You know, because like people in the show, spoilers, both the writer and the illustrator go through a really difficult time. There are multiple times when they're knocked off the top 10 list in Jump, and you would not believe exactly how much mangakas struggle in Japan, because the top guy gets paid big money. And just because you're in the top 10, you think, oh, this guy's in the top 10, he's probably also making a decent living. If you're not top 1, 2, or 3, like you're not making any money. You're getting eyeballs on you, but you're not making any money.
It's very similar to the music scene in here
Precisely,
in the US,
yeah.
where the top artists that you hear on the radio are making bank, but every other artist, even if you see them have 1 million views on Spotify, they're probably making chump change.
Yeah, they're making chunk change.
They might get by, and that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I really love about Bakuman, because it really illuminated exactly what these people go through. I really suggest it, because then I really suggest you watch it if you have not seen the series, because it really does show you, it gets you involved within the industry.
Yeah.
Right, and I would say that was one of the shows that really made me want to find out more about the industry as a whole, because I'm like, yo, these guys are putting in not just they're not doing it just for a quick buck. Like, these guys are actually doing it because they love it, and a lot of these guys, even though they're not making any money, they're doing it because just how profoundly they have an attachment to the
For the
medium.
sake of art.
Exactly, art for the sake of art. That's why it gets me really upset. And here's the thing. Here's another thing. Here's one of the biggest reasons why I really want to, involve you guys a little bit more in the industry, is because a lot of people, I'm sure you've gotten it before, where if you're a little bit older, like we are, like I'm 31.
I gave my age around earlier when I said I was 10 in the 90s. So.
Yeah. I was also 10.
It was at the end of the 90s.
I was 10 in 2000.
Yeah,
so.
just a little bit off.
I can't claim it. But I'm sure if you're a little bit older, you'll have people come up to you and they're like, yo, why are you watching that? It's just a cartoon. Or like, why are you so serious about it? It's just a cartoon. When people in the West call it just a cartoon, I'm like, bro, it's different mediums. Number one. But it really irks me, because that's like going up to a painter who does like abstract art and telling that person, like, why are you so serious about why are you so serious about this? Why do you have a career about this? You're just splashing color onto a canvas.
Okay, but some people do just splash color on a canvas.
Yeah.
And then when it sucks, they call it abstract art.
But you get my point though, right?
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
when somebody comes up to you and so like, why are you taking this so seriously? It's just a cartoon. It's like if you read it, right? If you read the source material,
Yeah.
authors like Togashi, authors like Adachi, and Togashi, these guys are extremely profound writers.
Yes.
And that's why their work resonates with so many people. We were talking about Adachi the other day, right? If you look at the rankings in Jump of their best-selling titles of all time, every single title is a shonen title, right? It's a battle manga. It's a battle manga that's been adapted to a battle anime.
Just
right?
like how Michael Bay hits.
Yes, right. It's like it's a
flashy.
coming of age adventure story, right? It's the hero's journey story, right? That's what dominates
The hero's
top
journey
of Jump,
formula, yeah.
Right. We're talking about One Piece, right? One Piece has dominated that #1 spot for a long time. I don't think anybody's catching One Piece.
Not anytime soon.
Naruto, Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
Who else is on top of that?
I haven't looked
Bleach.
in a
I think
couple
Bleach
years.
is on top.
Is it
of
still
there.
up there?
Bleach Fairy Tail, yes.
That's
I think
impressive.
Bleach is in the top 10. But who's got the number 10 spot? It's Adachi
Your boy.
Mitsuru. It's Adachi Mitsuru with Touch. And Touch is a very mature, like it's about high schoolers, but it deals with very mature themes. Adachi as a writer, he always deals in very mature themes. It's a coming of age story at its foundation, but he deals with, his characters always deal with some kind of tragedy, whether it's death, a loss of it might be like a loss of a family member, like a loss of your high school sweetheart, your middle school sweetheart. And his characters are always having to battle with authority as they're also having to deal with all of the bullshit that a regular junior high school student has to go through when they're entering that age, right? I think everybody remembers when they were in high school and they think the world was ending. So all of that is compounded by the fact that they're also having to deal with a death in the family, a death of a loved one, dealing with there's a conflict with authority in the school, something along those lines. And then not only that, Adachi is well known for creating. People think of Adachi as a sports mangaka, but sports always just forms the background of his work. It's his work at its base, like the background is sports, but it's a coming of age story, and he likes to put his characters in a baseball scenario. I think it's pretty obvious that anybody knows his work. Adachi is a very big fan of baseball, and his characters always play baseball. So not only is he dealing with all that, not only is his characters dealing with all that stuff, now you put that character into a sports environment. Well, now I have to worry about practice too, right? I have to worry about being the leader for my team. I have to worry about getting to the Koshien, which is a big deal in Japan. It's like the high school
High school in
baseball
general is a
championships.
big deal in Japan. Yeah, so
High school baseball.
It really goes through the dynamics of youth. It's not just here's the one topic we're going to focus on. And I think speaking of focusing on topics, we're going to hit an intermission.
All right, guys, we're back.
Well, almost back. See, the real truth of that intermission is this.
Oh, yes.
I needed chalky milk.
There's actually vodka in there.
Well, no, I would never put vodka in milk.
Yeah.
I would never do that. Not even, is it today April 1st? No, it's the 2nd. I would not even on April 1st would I do that.
Yeah. But no, the point that I was trying to make with Adachi is that despite the fact that the top spots in Jump are dominated by battle shonen, you've got somebody who's dealing with extremely mature themes that usually go over people's heads, and he's that number 10 spot, dude. He's broken over 100 million sales in Jump, and that says a lot about the quality of his writing. It says that not only does it resonate with a lot of people, it's probably it resonates with a lot of people probably because it speaks a lot to the human condition, and so like people can fuck like you fuck with it, right? You know, when you're watching something and you're like, yo, that really hit me in the feels, like that's Adachi.
Yeah, and you said 100 million?
100 million.
To put that in perspective,
top 10 is 100 million.
To put that in perspective, that's almost a third of the U.S. I think Japan's population is roughly 130 million, so that's enough sales to almost one per population.
Yeah, one per.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's not how the sales are counted, but just to put that in perspective of how many that is, that's impressive for any mangaka.
And I want to tell you guys this too. I'm going to give Adachi more of his flowers because he fucking deserves it. A lot of the top 10 mangas were either developed in the early 2000s, written in the early 2000s, or now. So that's when anime and manga become a lot more mainstream.
Yeah.
Touch
Especially
was
particularly
written
in the
back in
West.
the 80s. Bro. I think Touch was in the late 80s.
Yeah, which means most of those sales either accumulated in post where his story remained relevant, or they were so popular that pre-internet they sold that many in a small population area.
Yeah, dude. I remember one writer talking about Adachi, and he said that even now, I think this was like maybe this was like in 2016 or so, and he was talking about Adachi. He said that even now, everybody knows the character of Kazuya and Tatsuya in Japan. That's how much of an impression that series left on people. It's like you'll still find the merchandise from those two characters in Japan now, and it's been like 30 years.
Yeah, that's wild. And that's actually an interesting topic too, is the difference between the East and the West. Because a lot of people, I remember, would complain that an anime didn't get a second season or something. And in the U.S., it was super popular.
Yeah.
And then, but in Japan, it was a bust.
Yep.
No one cared. And Japan goes off Japan's market. They're not worried about the U.S. market.
Yeah.
Because even though like now it's gotten more mainstream and there's a lot more sales out here, it still pales in comparison to what the market is in Japan.
Yeah.
So their priority is their market, the market that they're going to get the most sales in. So then when it's like, oh, it's doing so well here, that's from your perspective.
Yes.
It's often not the accurate answer.
Yeah.
So
It might not be congruent.
Yeah.
The popularity might not be congruent with Japan.
Yeah, which also explains why some anime are still around today. That people are like, oh, I don't even watch that. I don't know anybody that watches that. Why is it so big? Like a Case Closed. I know
look
like
at Case
three
Closed,
people.
bro. Yeah.
I know like 3 people that watch. I love Case Closed,
Yeah.
but it's got
Love
over
Case
1,000
Closed.
episodes now.
Over 1,000. I think over 1,000 chapters in the manga too.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like it's going for a reason. It's not just one market sustaining anything.
It's certainly one of the longest running series. I think Hajime no Ippo is also one.
That's been going on a long time. Yeah.
There's another one. There's a really old one that's been going on for a long time.
There is.
Oh, there's One Piece, of course.
I mean, Berserk was going since the late 80s, but it was very slow going.
Yeah.
So if you're going time-wise, it was going for like 30 years.
Yeah. And see, that's another thing, right? It's like if you guys know the studio that's producing it, like for example, if Madhouse is producing a series, you're probably going to be confident that it's going to get at least 1 or 2, especially if the response here in the West and the response to the anime is positive in general. It's definitely going to get a second season because Madhouse is a big budget studio.
Big budgets are nice budgets.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically going to be the gist of. Well, I say gist, but I didn't say jizz.
He did. Now he said,
I said
jizz.
gist. Okay.
Well, he said just first, but then he did say jizz.
But that's basically going to be the gist of the Anime Monday segment of our podcast. And we're going to have, I'm planning to have 3 in total. Robert is going to be the mainstay co-host for the first segment. The second segment is going to be a Waifu Wednesday segment, right? That one I'm going to be doing with my wife, Kelsey. She's actually behind the camera right now playing the game on the Switch.
So I guess I got that one wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't really get it wrong.
Well, yeah, exactly. If it wasn't self-explanatory, we're gonna review some of the most popular and favorite romantic comedies and romance series of all time, and it's not just gonna be isolated to that. We're probably gonna review just anime couples in general, or we're gonna review the relationship, how they met, how the courtship was, right? Between
Courtship.
the guy
The guy just got a harem like that.
by the guy and the girl. I have a very good theory why guys are able to form harems in anime
Because it's in the script.
No, I actually haven't. See, this is.
All right, you guys are gonna have to stay tuned for the other segment.
This is why I wanna.
We can't give it away here.
I am gonna leave you guys with this. The reason why those guys, you might think like, yo, how is this guy getting all these girls? It's social proof. You can look up what social proof is. When it comes to dating and relationships, and you might get an idea exactly of what I'm talking about. But it's gonna discuss topics like that. We're gonna analyze their relationship within the series, you know, how the relationship affects them as individuals, how they progress as a couple, how that relationship bleeds into other aspects of their lives, and then we're gonna try to draw parallels with, you know, the fictional anime world with how that relationship would actually turn out here in, you know, IRL, like in real life.
How
right?
actual people would respond
Exactly.
to the same
And
stimulus.
yeah, we're gonna analyze like the intersexual, you know, male female intersexual dynamics between those two, between the couple in the series, and see if that relationship is something that can actually survive and thrive here. We're gonna look at it through a Western lens because I'm
Because
obviously
we're in
not.
the US.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with how relationships are in Japan. So we're gonna analyze it here through a Western lens, and you know how earlier I kind of I said that people often forget that weebs are also people. I think people also often tend to forget that weebs also want an IRL waifu and husbando,
2D is better than 3D.
right? I mean, I like 2D and 3D, which is why I got married.
I
'cause
just
also
say that
very
because I'm
like 3D.
lonely.
But you know, like we want to, the same way that we want to give people the sauce about the industry in anime, like I want to give people the sauce about dating, especially dating here in the West. It's become extremely navigate, I think, and I think some people might disagree with me, but I think dating here in the West has become extremely difficult to navigate for both men and women, because before, you actually had to go up to a girl or a guy. Well, it's traditionally it's the
Back
guy.
in my day, we had to go up and knock on the door, and when
Yeah.
Papa answered, we had to hope we didn't get shot.
Exactly.
And hopefully he wasn't home, so we could say
Exactly.
hey to the little missy.
Yeah. Well, I
Why
mean,
did
you
I
know,
talk
the
like that?
the point is, right, the dynamics have changed
Correct, yeah.
significantly.
As they do through the generations.
Yes, when it comes to dating, here most interaction is done on screen,
Yes.
right? So
The digital age has arrived.
yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, from my experience, it was very difficult for me, like navigating the dating marketplace. So I can only imagine, like for normal people, it's difficult dating the marketplace right now. Imagine how it was for us weebs, bro.
Well, let's save that for Waifu Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what that segment is gonna be. That one I'm gonna be doing with my wife Kelsey. And we're gonna give you guys the sauce, man, because
Sounds like there's going to be a lot of sauce. So if you like your pasta just smothered in
Yes.
the stuff, sounds
Yes.
like that's where it's going to go.
and we're gonna give you guys a lot of dating advice and how to navigate that dating marketplace properly to put you in a position that, you know, hopefully you find your IRL waifu and husbando. Because come on, let's face it, it's so much better watching anime with your waifu or husbando, and your homies, of course. Yeah.
And the homies. Support the homies.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the second segment, and then the third and final segment is gonna be a Fitness Fridays. One of the other things,
Gaston Arnold will be here twice a
Yes.
week.
Yes,
Not really.
I'm gonna have you do voiceovers.
Oh, God. What have I gotten myself into?
Like if somebody's gonna look for a VA and they're like, "Yo, we need an Arnold voiceover," I'm like, "I've got just."
I
the
need to
guy
come
for
up
you
with a bunch of
guys.
corny one-liners like the
Yeah.
old 80s action flicks.
Yeah, he has a lot of them.
The 80s was all about that.
It was all about
Yeah.
that, the cheesy action
had
movie
to have the-
superheroes, but it was great.
Yeah, it was so awesome.
Yeah. But so the third segment is going to be a Fitness Fridays. We're going to give you guys, I think for the most part, that's just going to be me. I'm going to share with you guys the knowledge that I've accumulated working because, you know, I'm a powerlifting coach and I've been in the industry for a very long time. And I've helped a lot of people get really strong or get really jacked. And I know that for...
He's the one who taught Saitama his program.
Actually, that wasn't me. I actually disagree with how Saitama runs this program. I think he could be better. He could be half Punch Man instead of One Punch Man.
Well, I think that's it. You guys had that discussion and you realized, wow, that's even worse.
Yeah, he's like-
I already have no challenge. Let's not go there.
Yeah, he's like, bro, half Punch Man is not gonna get views. Let's keep it at One Punch Man.
And even then, I'm going to be a background character
Yeah,
of my own show.
yeah, but yeah. I know. So the cosplay industry here, and I think you could speak on this a little bit more. The cosplay industry here in Arizona is fairly big.
Yeah, it's
The anime scene here is massive in Arizona.
Yeah, it's growing. I mean, it's obviously not like some other areas, but it's definitely growing a lot. It's definitely notable, and it's definitely expanding significantly.
Yeah, yeah. Because Robert is actually I would say he's a professional photographer. He's a film photographer, and
That
I've
one
seen
is
a lot of his
true.
work.
Unlike the audio engineer statement, this one is actually true.
And you can actually catch some of his work at Cars and Cosplay, or is it 35 millimeter Charizard? Is your new one?
I try to, but Instagram sucks and doesn't work half the time, so I'm just using cars and cosplay underscores for spaces. Because there are others.
Yeah, if you want
But
to check
I
out
am
some of his work.
Maybe I should add the.
The Cars and Cosplay?
Maybe I should add that.
You arrogant bastard.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you think you're hot shit, bro?
You gotta think you're hot shit to be hot shit. I can't understate this.
No, but seriously though, if you guys want to check out his work, he is a fantastic photographer. And the industry here in Arizona is fairly big, and the cosplay industry in Arizona is fairly big. So I know, at least from the people that I've interacted with, when people are serious about their cosplays, they want to emulate the character as well as they can. And being able to do that means you've got to also emulate the physique, right? And I know that a lot of weebs may not have not even a surface level understanding of proper health and fitness. And so what I want to do with that segment is be able to give you guys that information in a concise and as easy to absorb form as possible. And I want to give you guys things that are actionable, stuff that you could do right now today to help you get the physique that you want. So you could cosplay All Might, and you can fill out that one piece.
And I do want to be clear here, because I know there's some people who will misread this. Cosplay is for everyone. These notes are specifically for the people that want to target that, like, hey, I want this physique so I can be this character. I really emulate this character. I really love this character. I want to look like that. It's for people who want to do that. Anyone else, it's fine. I mean, look at me. I ain't into the physique stuff. There's nothing wrong with that.
Guys, we fuck with everybody here,
Exactly.
okay? It's like, if you think that segment is going to be about, hey, you're a piece of shit if you're trying to cosplay a character and you don't look like them.
Yeah, that ain't the vibe.
That's not what it's going to be fucking about, guys. Like,
they're just tools that you can or cannot use. Entirely up to you.
Yeah, like, we're not about that life, bro. Like, we know exactly how it is growing up in the 90s, where a lot of this stuff was, we were the deplorables. We were the deplorables, right?
You were
fuck all that. No, fuck that shit, bro. I wore that shit on my sleeve.
I mean,
like, no matter what.
I've worn this shirt to work in a professional environment, meeting with people who make $500,000 to $1 million a year, and I'm just like, yo, what's up?
Yeah.
Here's my Kirby shirt.
Yeah, but yeah, to get back to the point is that we know exactly how it is to be shunned, and so we don't do any of that bullshit here, bro. Like, we like everybody. If you treat us well and you treat others well, like, we fuck with you.
Yeah.
So that segment is not going to be like, hey, like, you should look like this if you're in a cosplay. Like, no, like Robert said, the goal is to give you guys the tools to use so that if you did want to emulate your character, if you want it to be as true to the character as possible, then you have the tools to fucking do that. And that's what that segment is going to be about, is to give you guys the tools when it comes to fitness, when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to health, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, so that you can get the progress and you get the results that you want. That's going to be my main goal. I've been doing that. I've been in the fitness industry for more than half a decade, so I know a thing or two about a thing or two. And throughout my experience, I've learned how to transition people as easily into it as possible so that they can get the results they want. Because believe me, even now in 2022, there's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors.
There always will be.
There's a lot of fad diets. There's a lot of pills and detox teas and all that bullshit.
Especially on social media, there's a lot of people faking it. There's so much Photoshop shit on there. They're like, oh yeah, or people who use other people's images entirely. Like, oh yeah, look, I got this results in 6 months, and they're not even the same people in the photos.
Yeah, precisely. So I know that people get lost in the sauce.
Man, this is a saucy podcast.
We were able to manage.
We might have to rename the
sauce
podcast
in all 3 segments. But people get lost in the sauce when it comes to fitness and nutrition because there's so much information out there. So what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to tell you exactly, like, it's not going to be a one size fits all, but I'm going to give you options that may work for you. so that you can filter out the bullshit. The same way that I want to give you guys tools to filter out those titles in the series that you may not want to invest time in when you're watching a show. So that's what that third segment is going to be, Fitness Fridays. And who knows, maybe we'll get Robert into fitness just yet.
Let's sigh.
So that's the overarching premise of the show. It's gonna be 3 segments. It's gonna be all about anime. Everything is gonna be tied up. It's gonna be tied back to anime because that's what we love.
Core element.
Precisely.
It's what brings the podcast together. It's what brings us together. It's what brings us together.
Yeah. Oh, the subtitle for that segment is actually gonna be Fitness Fridays. Jack like JoJo Star, because everybody knows how Jack.
The first 3 seasons.
Yes.
But the other ones are still, fit. It's fit. There's a variety of fitness.
Yeah. Well, okay, so now that we're through that, I thought we'd actually do something fun. We're going to do a short Q&A here so that you can get to know me and Robert a little bit more. So we came up with, I think there's a total of 5 questions dealing with things like how we got into anime in the first place.
5 questions.
So we could, we get to know, you guys get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah, where we're coming from in this podcast, what our basis is, where helps you give you some perspective.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start off with the first question. How did you get into anime, Robert?
Well, I got into anime originally in the mid '90s.
Golden era.
Well, it was at the beginning. The 80s was good. That's what I think that was the build up to the golden era. So the Silver Age, golden era, maybe. Mm-hmm. That sounds good. We'll go with that. But it wasn't.
Yeah. Silver Age All Might.
But it wasn't through conventional means. It was actually through my father, who made fun of anime and said anime was stupid. But he grew up watching.
He's stupid.
Ultraman. Well, this is the
Ultraman.
Ultraman,
damn.
And even so, my first exposure to Japanese media in general was Ultraman and Godzilla, obviously, and the kaiju flicks that go along with that. And what I also got into was Speed Racer, which my dad was also always into
Speed
cars.
Racer, go.
Little did he know.
How about Astro Boy?
Astro Boy, I know of that, but that's later on in life. But getting into it was Speed Racer. That's what started, which my dad introduced me to, not knowing that was anime. Granted, it was before anime was called anime, because I don't think that term really came into play until I think the 80s. Before that.
I did not know this.
Yeah, because there was Japanimation was a popular term, or Japanese animation.
Clever.
Otherwise, a lot of people. I had some older guy who's in his 70s maybe saw the stickers on my car and was like, oh, and these are some of those Japanimation characters, and I was like, wow, I've heard that word in decades.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Speed Racer, my dad showed me, and I loved it. I mean, because I love cars and the overly expressive characters and Chim Chim. Oh man, it was
so you've had an interest in cars for a long time.
Since I was born, bro.
Wow. Okay.
Since I was born.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry. Continue.
And that led into me, once I discovered the fact that Speed Racer was in fact anime a few years later, that's when I started looking into more. So the late 90s, early 2000s, with the shoddy dial-up internet, I started looking into it and looking on this really sketchy websites and uTorrents and all that. Actually, I think that was before
I've
uTorrent.
torrented a few series.
Yeah, I think this was before uTorrent. But I found Neon Genesis Evangelion. I found Ghost in the Shell.
Yes.
And I think the first one that I was consciously aware of watching anime as anime, I think was Rurouni Kenshin.
Oh, bro. Wow. You just named off some of the goats right there, man.
There's going to be a lot of that. We're going to be goat dropping.
That is wild, man. NGE, Kenshin.
Yeah, so that was my base level starting point. So the standards were pretty high right off the bat, even though at that age I wasn't really comprehending most of that stuff, because Ghost in the Shell is not as superficial as some of the shonen shit. I did watch Dragon Ball. I saw some Sailor Moon, but it was those that I really got into. How about you, Jay? How'd you get into anime?
Bro, it was my parents too, actually. But unlike your dad, my parents also loved anime. Not to the extent that I like anime.
They weren't full blown weebs.
No, they were certainly not full blown weebs. But they engaged in weeb culture as well, right? They like to play video games. They like to watch these quote unquote cartoons. I'm originally from the Philippines, guys, and And growing up, my parents loved to watch the old school mecha animes, Voltus 5, Daimos, Mazinger Z. I don't think they really got into Gundam. I don't think Gundam was being aired in the Mobile Suit Gundam. You guys are familiar with it? It's like I think Mobile Suit Gundam is the very first Gundam series.
I don't know the order of them. I'm not that well versed.
Or it might not be. Who knows? But you know they like.
I'm sure somebody knows.
Yeah, they liked watching a lot of the old school mecha animes, and that was my introduction into anime. It was Voltus 5, and then after Voltus 5, in the Philippines they have some anime, but it wasn't as big as it is now. Philippines is a lot bigger in anime now than it was back then. Dude, Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh yeah,
that was the show that really pulled me in.
It was called something else in the Philippines, wasn't it?
It was called something. It was called Ghost Fighter.
Ghost Fighter
in the Philippines. So the thing is, in the Philippines, I don't know how much they do it now, but back then, because if you call it Yu Yu Hakusho in the Philippines, folks would just in general have a harder time pronouncing it. So not only did they have to change the title of the series, they also had to change the names. It was so weird because. So talking about Yu Yu Hakusho, it's called Ghost Fighter in the Philippines, and the main character Yusuke Urameshi, well, his name became Eugene, and I don't even know if they gave him a last name. I think it was just Eugene.
I mean, I don't give most of my characters in D&D last names, so fair enough. Don't ask him. I don't need it.
Hiei was Vincent. Kurama was Dennis. And
okay, Vincent I could see, but Dennis.
Dennis, bro. He was Dennis. He was Dennis, and then Kuwabara was Alfred. I forgot what Keiko was. But Keiko's was also Jennifer. I think Keiko was Jennifer. I might, don't quote me on that. I know for sure the names of the first four, but I can't remember Keiko. I can't remember Botan. Oh. Do you remember his sensei's name? Yusuke's.
Chucky.
Genkai.
Oh, Genkai.
Yeah. He was. Genkai was a lady. Dude, I remember when we found out Genkai was actually a girl because we saw her in her young form. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my god, she was hot.
Choked a little bit there. The memory was coming back up.
But Genkai was Master Jeremiah, and then the Demon Lord's son was Master Jericho. It was hilarious, man. The stuff that they translated into
localization is an odd part of translations. It can be funky.
Yeah. Dude, you wanna hear a funny story about Yu Yu Hakusho?
Yes.
So back in this was like when I was 6 years old in the Philippines growing up, and even back then in the 90s, there was such a thing called fan service. There was a thing called what is it when people create their own stories out of the character?
Fan fiction.
Fan fiction. Yeah. There was fan fiction and there was shipping, right?
Oh yeah. Oh man, that goes back. I mean, it's not surprising, but damn.
Yeah, but so in the Philippines, because Yu Yu Hakusho was such a popular show, they had these little trading cards. They were called text. Right? You buy them for 1 peso for a pack, and there's like 20 in a pack, and you'd get a lot of concept art from the show itself, or either scenes from the show itself, right? And I remember this one text card, right? It had a picture of Hiei and Kurama. Hiei was on front of the card, and Kurama was behind him, and he had Kurama's arm was like draped over his Hiei's neck.
Like the buddy kind of.
No. So like circling up from his neck and grabbing.
Like headlock.
His earlobe. Hiei's earlobe. And so me and my buddies were wondering back then. We were like, oh, we thought Kurama was a guy, but Kurama is very androgynous. Androgynous. So Kurama has a lot of feminine characteristics. If you guys don't know Yu Yu Hakusho, look up the character and you'll see what I mean. So we were like, is Kurama just a girl in disguise? He wears long pants. He wears the long shirt. So maybe Kurama's disguising himself as a girl.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the 90s, gender norms were a lot more binary than they are today. Mm-hmm. So the youth then, it was like, it was one of those. So if you saw a guy wearing feminine clothing, you would start to rethink things like, what? You'd get confused, just like he's describing now.
Yeah, but so we were like, oh, well then Kurama must be a girl. And we convinced ourselves that, or at least I did, because I'm like, well, Kurama's kind of cute and pretty. He must be a girl in disguise. And then obviously we find out later on throughout the series that no, Kurama is indeed a dude, a very pretty dude. Because do you remember him in his wolf form, the Lobo form?
Yeah,
dude.
Vaguely.
Yeah, like he was even more beautiful in that form. I was like, what the bro. But yeah, I am not ashamed to admit that I think Kurama was probably my first anime waifu. But he actually turned out to be a husbando.
That's a fun story. I like that.
Husbando, yeah.
I like it.
So yeah, that was I wanted to share that little story with you guys because, yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
I think it's great.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how I got into anime. And then when I moved here to the States, I got much more into it because my best friend Ray, he was actually also very into anime, and he introduced me to my then favorite series, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
He introduced you to what we now know today as depression and anxiety.
Yes. Yeah. Like we'll probably break down NGE at some point,
I'm sure
guys,
we'll end up doing a whole damn episode on it.
There's a very good reason why NGE is kind of heralded as one of the greatest series of all times. If you guys have not watched it, I highly recommend it. It's at its core, it's like a mecha. You know, on the surface,
superficially, it's a mecha.
Superficially, it's a mecha anime. But you peel back the layers and you really start to realize that this thing deals a lot with depression, with anxiety.
Yeah, with trauma and struggles with mental illnesses and just the emotional states of people in different situations and the relationships between people going through those different situations.
Relationships between child and parent.
Yeah.
Right? With Gendo and
they're not
Hikari.
going to be healthy relationships because just like real life, when people are messed up and they get in a relationship, it's usually going to be a messed up relationship if they're not working on resolving things. And Neon Genesis is not about resolving things. Actually, that's not true.
Yeah.
I guess I'll spoil it because it's like 30 years old now.
Spoilers, guys.
But the ending of the initial series is acceptance.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's acceptance. Yeah.
A lot of people were puzzled about it. I remember in the early years, especially when I was younger, everybody's like, I don't understand what happened there. But it was about Shinji being able to accept himself and that he can look out for himself and that it's worth caring about himself.
Yeah.
So it does end, and depending on your context, because the mental states of everybody is so fucked up in that series.
The thing is, a lot of people bag on Shinji, and NG is one of those series that the more you watch it, the more layers get peeled back.
Yeah.
And the more you appreciate it, because watching that shit
the more life you experience, and the more you look back at it.
Yes, the more you can.
I understand this now.
Yeah.
Wow, that's rough.
Mm-hmm. And NGE is one of those series, and because when you're young and you're watching it, you like the robots.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't register any of that. It wasn't until I was like in my 20s and watched it again that I was like, the fuck, dude.
This shit hits hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Shinji, for as much as people bag on him, you know that there's that meme that goes around, just get in the fucking robot Shinji.
Yeah.
Right?
And then
Shinji's
so many people
actually,
are like, I don't get Shinji's problem. I would have gotten on the robot. But like, have you ever been neglected and used as a tool?
Yes.
And then the person who neglects you and uses a tool tells you to do something, you're not going to want to do it. It's not a positive association anymore.
Yeah. Shinji is actually one of the most well-written male leads in anime ever.
Painfully realistic to somebody going through
extremely
that
painfully
kind of trauma,
realistic. Because here's the thing, right? We're not gonna get too far into it, but I just wanna give Shinji his flowers. Is that you know how when people ask like why having a kid, for example, right? You know, people ask, well, why did that guy not step up to the plate and take his responsibilities as a dad, right? Like, why is he deadbeat dad? And I think that the answer to that question is easy. Is because taking responsibility is fucking difficult.
Yeah.
Right. The most obvious thing to do is almost always the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
So the right question is why doesn't somebody take on the responsibility? The question is why do they?
Yeah.
Right. Because
it's harder to do it than it is not to.
Yeah. So and that's Shinji, right? When his dad is screaming at him, get in the fucking robot, Shinji. He's a 14-year-old kid. He just wants a relationship with his father, and now his father asks him, "You get on this pilot because our other pilot can't sync well with the Ava, and we might die, right? Is it Third Impact? It was Third Impact they're trying to avoid?
Yeah, they're trying to avoid the Third Impact. So all the responsibility. So now he's just throwing it. The whole world is on your shoulders. And this kid's like, why do I care about the world when you don't even care about me?
Yeah.
So it's
and he fucking got in that robot. So it's like he chose to do the hard thing.
Yeah.
So. Like I said, right? Like we're gonna get this.
So let's save that.
These are the kind of conversations that we want to have with you guys and with each other, obviously.
Yeah, and at some point we're definitely going to be doing some viewer input, listener input. Definitely bring in some topics, maybe some live Q&As in the future. That'd be cool.
But yeah, man, that's basically my intro into anime. Like it was my parents, and then when I came here to the States, it was my best friend that really pulled me into it, and you know, after that, it's history. Yeah, I'm 31 and I'm still going strong. Like I'm never gonna outgrow this shit.
So now that you have that history, what are some of the ones that have stuck with you? What are your favorites?
Oh, dude. I think I've already geeked out enough about Togashi and Adachi here. So my favorite shonen series of all time is a Cross Game. It's by Mitsuru Adachi. I highly recommend it. If I haven't said enough about Adachi, I don't know how much more I can say about him, but definitely check out Cross Game. Togashi Sensei is one of my favorite authors of all time, second only to Adachi. So Hunter x Hunter, Yu Yu Hakusho, I would say those are my top favorite series of all time. It would be Yu Yu Hakusho. It would be Cross Game, number 1. Number 2, I actually have a list here. It would be Cross Game. And then number 2 spot would go to Hunter x Hunter. And then number 3 spot, I would say, would be a tie. It's very difficult because it used to belong to NGE, but One Punch Man worked its way up there, and then My Hero Academia, BNHA. I don't know yet if JJK will have the depth of writing that...
Have you been following the manga?
No, I have not. I've started.
I will let you know. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So JJK might work its way up there, but it's a tie between those 3 for my number 3 spot. It would be NGE, BNHA, and One Punch Man, because I think the quality of writing is there. Is there. How about you, bro?
All right. So mine, a lot of these come from the Golden Age. The trio for me, I don't have a number assignment. I can't commit to that. Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, I can, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Cowboy Bebop, I guess I would put at the top spot. But after that, everything's ambiguous. But Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, and Samurai Champloo are the trifecta for me.
Damn.
Yeah, right?
What the heck? That is one hell of a list.
Those 3 are mandatory, by the way. You have to watch them.
Yeah, my goodness.
And then it's Berserk, as far as manga goes, Berserk and Vagabond are big
Dude,
series.
Vagabond is... thanks for the recommendation.
Very philosophical, very well written, very interesting. Because it starts off like, you look at it like, oh, it's going to be like samurais and fighting. Nah, man, it's so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
But also... for comedies, Full Metal Panic and Gintama.
Oh, dude,
so fun.
See, that's the thing when you're branching out into comedies. I think it makes it. So I would say, like, if we're gonna have comedy up there, I think Devil's a Part-Timer.
I still need to watch that one too.
Devil's a Part-Timer. The comedy there, it just hits every single note, bro. It hits every.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. I do need to check that one out.
Yeah. It's because it's an isekai, but it's actually a meditation on domestic partnerships. It is fucking extremely well written, and yeah, the comedy just hits every single note for me at least. But you know, I know that it hits the notes for a lot of people too. So.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about that one, so I definitely need to get in on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I would say runner up. I have a runner up, Parasite the Maxim.
It's comedy?
No.
I was like, wait, that is a little dark.
Yeah, it might be number 4, Parasite the Maxim.
Okay, yeah, that one is very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah, that one, if you guys haven't seen it yet, definitely highly recommend Parasite the Maxim. What I really like about it is because it kind of explores, what happens now when these creatures that come in, they were predators, but they're starting to develop a consciousness.
Yeah.
And so... then are they just predators now?
Yeah.
Or do you have to treat them differently?
It's interesting because there's plenty of anime and manga and other stories about self-reflection on humans and their existence, but when another creature comes in and then they're like, oh, hey, what's our role? Because humans can we already have an established existence, but when another creature comes in and they've done nothing but hunt on instinct, and now they're developing consciousness, what happens from there?
Yeah, if you guys are familiar at all, like there's a lot of stories about AI and robots like that where... if the AI
I have
is
no mouth
so
and I must scream.
Yeah, but if like the AI is so well developed, what happens now when the AI starts forming something of a consciousness, right? Now you have to battle with the fact that, well, do we extend human rights to the AI because they now have a consciousness, or are they still just machines?
Yeah.
Right. Parasite the Maxim deals with a lot of those issues, which is why I think it's probably going to be one of my runner-ups.
Yeah, and it does it from both perspectives, both of
Yes.
that of the parasite and the human.
Yes. Because from the parasite's perspective, it's like, well, this is my prey.
Yes.
Right. So we don't really think twice about eating our prey because we're eating,
Just food, yeah.
right?
It's
It's
my
like
natural instinct. It's how we survive. It's a natural
yes,
cycle of life.
yeah. Like you don't get mad at the lion for eating the gazelle, right?
Yeah.
It's just what
It's
the
just
lion
like that,
does.
yeah.
It's just survival, right? So now it's you're right.
Yeah.
It analyzes it both from the parasite's perspective and also the human perspective too.
And their interaction between the two is really
Yes,
it's really
between
interesting.
Migi, and I forgot his name. I can't believe I forgot his name.
I can't. I'm so bad at remembering names at all. But
Yeah.
you know whose name I do remember? Violet Evergarden.
Oh yes, Violet. Oh man. Here we go.
Yeah, you know-
that's a good segue into the third question. Waifus, man.
Yes.
You guys know this is gonna come up.
This is going to come up, and I'm sure we'll debate it. We'll probably have some debates on waifus.
Yes.
But if you
All
want to
right.
know my waifu, it's Violet Evergarden.
Yeah.
I don't even have to think about it. Hands down, she's phenomenal, and she makes me cry in good and bad ways.
Dude, Violet Evergarden, I've only seen the series once, but my goodness.
It's hard to watch again because I know I'm going to
Yeah.
get teary-eyed all over
It's
again.
hard to watch a series like that where you know if you watch it, you know it's just gonna hit you. It's
The
gonna
emotional
hit you extremely
investment,
deeply.
yeah. Watching her growth was really, it felt great.
Yeah.
And then, of course, she's beautiful
Yeah.
and a badass, so that's cool. But yeah, it was really just watching her grow as a person through that series was just really impactful.
Yeah. And see, that's another thing, right? It's like how much of an when you get so attached to the character, like you know it's a very well written character.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna get attached to a character that's a very boilerplate, surface level, generic, one dimensional type of character,
Yeah.
right? Like the thing about Violet is that she's not human. Right? She's an android.
Well, I mean, she's
It's a robot.
human.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you
But
remind me? Refresh me? Yeah.
I think you're getting confused because the auto memory stall is like her role, but
Yes.
she doesn't look a person.
Oh, okay. I thought that was
the
an
job.
artificial. Okay,
No.
gotcha.
I mean, she also has robot arms because she got arms ripped off in war.
Okay.
Spoiler, I guess. It's like in the first half of the episode. I don't know. Some people consider like every.
Yeah, we're
spoilers. I don't know.
gonna have to put spoilers in every single one of the episodes because
Actually, it's kind of this is off topic, but what time frame do you think is appropriate for spoiler warnings?
explain time frame.
So, for example, I consider like you should put a spoiler warning before something recent. But something that's been out for like 20 years, I don't think you should have a spoiler warning for. But I've
That's
seen people
fair.
be like, hey, you should put a spoiler warning for them. Like, bro, it ended like 20 years ago.
That's fair.
How should I, like, so where do you draw the line of, yeah, we should put a warning here and no, it's been out long
Yeah,
enough?
that's
that,
fair. That's
yeah.
fair. Yeah.
I mean, we could save that for a separate topic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that's what we'll do because that could be a discussion.
Yeah, for sure. So is it just Violet? And then do you have
Violet's my number one. I have a couple other ones. Like 02 is a very superficial one.
Why are you okay? Like we're definitely gonna have to.
It's a
discuss this because
superficial.
I'm
It's
like,
superficial. There's
as
no
much as
depth
people-
to that
as
one.
Much as people love
okay, so-
Darling in the Franks, bro. Darling in the Franks is not.
No,
a-
Darling in the Franks is not it. But 02 is.
Okay, all right. You
There's
just
a
like the look.
distinction.
You just like the look.
Yes, that's why I said it's
Fair,
superficial.
fair.
And I will never say anything more than that. There's nothing deeper behind that. It's
Yeah.
just like, damn, she's hot.
Yeah.
Let's go Dino Girl.
Dude, it's funny because it's like I hear people all the time where it's like Darling when they hype up Darling in the Franks.
That's why I never say Darling in the Franks. I just say 02. 02
like-
is the only relevant
I'm
component.
like Franks is if you want to talk about that. If you want to talk about a show that mistreats like their female characters, Franks is.
Another topic and another discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, we got plenty of content for these episodes. We'll keep them coming. Don't you worry.
So 02 is the runner-up. Anybody else?
I wouldn't call her runner-up so much as just there.
Okay.
I mean, I should try to think of a third because there's like Violet here, 02 there.
The Nether. Yes.
So
What has your heart and one has your.
who has my mind?
Yes.
I'm going to say Major.
Really, Motoko.
Kusanagi, yeah.
Okay. Oh. Kusanagi. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Is it Motoko Kusanagi?
I believe so. Unless I'm mixing it up with a.
Okay. Yeah. Because like, The Masato. Oh, Masato Kusanagi. No,
Yeah,
it's
I am
Masato.
mixing them up. I do that all the time.
Okay, because when you say major, it's like Motoko is the person that, the person that comes to my hat.
Now I'm going to have to look it up
major
because
is
I
Motoko.
always mix it up.
Give us a second, guys. We're actually gonna real time find out
I'm
if
a
it's
horrible weeb.
yeah. If it's if Kusanagi is
It's not.
Masato.
I'm sure I got it backwards. Yeah. No, I was right. Kusanagi.
Okay.
I'm not a bad husband.
Okay,
though.
it is
Okay,
indeed Motoko.
okay.
It is, yeah, because I'm like major.
Man,
it's not Masato. Major is major.
It depends on
Motoko,
which
yeah.
series of Ghost in the Shell you're watching, which one you hear more often. But yeah. See, I'd put Major.
Okay.
Here,
Yeah.
Violet.
Hey, she is a badass.
Yeah, and she's intelligent. She thinks ahead. She thinks about the people around her. And Ghost in the Shell is a deeper series than Darling in the Franxx could ever
It certainly is. Yeah, exactly. Darling in the Franxx is one of those things that you watch because of the fan service. It is pure, unadulterated fan service.
Yeah.
When I saw how they positioned themselves in the
That's
damn
just
cockpit,
how they sit in cockpit.
I was like, bro, come on, man. They're like you couldn't have been more like this is
blatant.
Yeah, it's just blatant. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's it. 1, 2, 3.
I'm assuming you got one here on the table already for your
Oh, actually,
list.
you know what? All right, guys. You know, as much as I love Toga.
Oh, no.
Toga is actually I like Toga because I gravitate towards the crazy ass female characters.
Yanderes?
I like the yanderes, man. I like the yanderes. That's why, despite unpopular opinion, I like Mami in Rent a Girlfriend.
Oh.
She is the least favorite out of the girls in Rent a Girlfriend, and I actually like.
I've only
Mami.
seen like 3 episodes. I don't remember who's who. So
I like the yanderes, but it's funny. We were talking about this the other day. There's actually a pattern with my waifus, right? It was Ayanami, Ayanami.
Oh boy, healthy.
And then 2 of my other waifus that are really like. From the same author, Seo Koji. And if you guys are familiar with Seo Koji's work, Fuka, you're very familiar with Fuka. So Fuka. Suzuka, which is another same
Suzuka.
name, Suzuka.
In the same universe.
Yes, and then he also wrote A Town Where You Live. Kimimachi is the shorthand, I think. I think the longhand is Kimi no Iromachi, A Town Where You Live. But it's also known as The Town Where You Rage because if you guys know anything about Koji Sensei, he has a talent for pissing his audience the fuck off. Because the relationships that Koji creates, it's like, you want to talk about toxic relationships. This guy is the #1 guy for writing toxic relationships. And you watch his characters interact with each other, and you're just beating yourself over the head and like want to smash the screen because he's like, bro, it's pissing me off how they're treating each other, but I can't stop watching it, man. It's like a fucking telenovela.
I mean, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
he's well known for that, bro. He's well known in the industry.
Because I remember
pissing people
when I was
off.
watching Suzuka, I was just like, "What the fuck is this? Why?" And it wasn't in the bad way. What the fuck is this? But it was because I stuck to it. I was like, I have to see this through. But man, did it hurt.
But my #1 is Aoba from Cross Game, which obviously
I'm not
coincidentally
familiar,
from my favorite anime series of all time. But
I
if you guys
wonder if one
recognize-
has to do with the other.
No, it's funny because there's a pattern. When I wrote mine down, I was like, there's a pattern here. There are girls with short hair. 3 of them have blue hair. 3 of them have blue hair.
Yeah, Fuga, Suzuka, and Ray all.
And Ray all have blue hair. And then Alba's the only outlier. Alba's a brunette, or it might just be black.
See, I have purple, blonde, and pink,
Yeah.
so I've spread it out.
Yes. Yeah, it's like the tomboyish, kind of sporty. Like that's the characters that I gravitate towards too.
So I have a diversity in mine. But
Yeah, but my #1 spot would definitely have to go to Alba. All right, #4, favorite opening and favorite ending.
oh man, so I don't have a singular favorite opening or ending, but I do have some highlights. Of course, Tank from Cowboy Bebop.
Bro,
Even people who
yes.
don't like jazz fucking jam that shit. The opening to Watamote, a cringe as fuck show that hits a little too hard for social anxiety.
Guys, Watamote is, dude. If you want
It's
to talk,
better than it should be. It's better than it has any right to be.
Dude,
But the
Watamote-
opening, fire. Absolute
Yeah.
fire. one of my favorite endings, I really like Lithium Flower from Ghost in the Shell. I think it was from the Standalone Complex. I can't remember.
Yeah, Standalone Complex, yeah.
And then Bleach and Full Metal both have bangers across the board.
Asterisk?
So many bangers.
Right, Asterisk?
So both of those series probably have the most consistent bangers.
Which one's your favorite Full Metal OP?
Full Metal.
There's a lot, but...
I don't even know, man. That's why I just left it in general, because I was like, there's a lot of them. Picking one, I don't know.
Ready, Steady, Go for sure. Rewrite.
That's a dope.
Sure.
Those are.
I think it's called Yui. I think it's
Yui is the artist. Again is the track.
Again is the track. Yeah, Again is one of my favorite tracks from
I think that's one that everybody, like even people who aren't familiar with Full Metal, probably heard that one. And then recently, Lost in Paradise with Jujutsu Kaisen. I think that was a banger.
There you go. Yeah.
So as far as modern stuff goes, I'm gonna have to give it to Jujutsu Kaisen for having a couple of bangers,
hits, bro. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there. Those are just some of my highlights. There's so many cool tracks. What are some of the cool tracks you've come across?
Bro, I've got to give it up. My favorite opening of all time is Cruel Angel's Thesis.
Classic,
bro. It's like
you can't go wrong,
dude. Every single time
I only didn't say it because somebody else was definitely going to say it.
I mean, dude, it's just so hype. I have if I'm down, I'm gonna listen to Cruel Angel's Thesis, man.
And
if I need to hit a hard
down?
set in the gym,
oh man,
yeah, I'm listening to Cruel Angel's
Brutal.
Thesis. Yeah. And as far as ending, I have two favorite ending theme songs, both from the same show, Food Wars, Shokugeki no Soma, a Spice. It's funny, bro. My last powerlifting meet, my last fucking deadlift attempt, I was rocking out to Spice.
That's amazing. That is fantastic.
Yeah, it was because my buddies know me that I'm a very calm lifter. Like a lot of lifters are very aggressive, especially when they're competing.
Yeah.
When they have to hit the platform, but I'm a very calm lifter. Like if my heart rate is elevated, I can't perform to the best of my abilities. But man, third attempt deadlift, I put Spice on and I was jumping all over the place, man. And then second one is also from, like I said, from Food Wars. I forgot which one came first. I think Spice was the second one, and then Sachan no Sexy Curry. It's just a really fun, upbeat
curry
song.
Sexy?
Curry sexy. I love curry, man.
I don't think I've ever actually had curry.
Really, we've got to take you to a good curry spot. There's a few good curry spots. I don't like spicy
foods usually, so that's part of why.
So the thing with a good curry spot is you can ask for the mild version. So you can always ask for mild, non-spicy, and not all curry is spicy.
Yeah, it's just a stereotype because I don't know any better.
Yeah, we've got to take you. There's actually a really good curry spot here. Probably the best curry spot I've ever been to. It's here in Tempe. It's called Curry Corner.
Curry.
Yeah, they're a little hole in the wall mom and pop shop, and
dude, some of them hole in the walls,
yeah.
Bro. If you're ever in a town, if you're ever traveling in a town you're not familiar with,
you just missed it.
You want to stay away from glory holes. I didn't miss it. I did not miss it. You want to stay away from glory holes. But if you look for just the mom and pop restaurant, it looks like a rundown, cheaper building. That's probably the best food in town.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But we got to take you to a good curry spot, curry corner for sure. Bro, you like anime, man? Like Japanese folks love curry.
Just because I like anime and I'm a weeb doesn't mean I have to indulge in all of Japanese culture. I'm not that far in. I'm not a full-on weeb.
How do you get a 100% completion rate, man?
Have I ever 100% completed the game? I haven't even completed most anime. I stopped on like the last 2 episodes, and I'm like,
same.
I'm so bad, and I'm like, oh, I don't want it to end yet. I'll catch the last episode in a couple days, and then I never go back to it.
Well, I mean,
ever.
I would say I do too, but I have a 3-episode rule. It's like if the plot and the characters don't hook me within the first 3 episodes, it's a pass.
Well, I mean, like when I'm at the end of the series and I'm like 1 or 2 episodes left. I'm talking about
I got you.
Because I'm like, oh, I don't want it to end yet. I've been binging it. I want it to last, so I'll save it for like another day and then never go back to it.
Okay. All right, that's fair.
It sucks.
We still got to take it to a curry spot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to try it. Just like I said, I haven't even had it, so.
Yeah. All right, last question. This one's actually I love this one. What is your favorite anime related memory, Robert?
Man, I thought about it a little bit and I gave up on it because honestly, it's such a hard question.
You got at least.
Well, I have a little bit, but I mean, just picking something was so hard because there's a million of them. I mean, especially after I started going to like cosplay conventions and stuff, because those are all anime related things. And I've had such a good time at so many conventions. I've made so many friends. I've gotten into photography and everything because of it.
Well, I did not notice. So
I mean, I started off just taking pictures at Cars and Coffee. And then I went to a con for the first time about the same time I got a camera. And I took a couple pictures there in the hole, and it was so fun shooting cosplayers. Because like it's fun shooting cars; they look pretty, but they don't react.
They don't react.
They're just there. But when you show like a cosplayer their photo, and they're like, "Oh my god!" and then these keyboard mashed letters at you, that feeling it's a special feeling. So I mean, right there is a memory there. But more specifically, I met Steve Bloom once.
Oh,
yeah, super cool guy. We were talking.
For those that don't know, can you please?
If you don't know, you're not a weeb. Like I know that's harsh, but he's the most prolific voice actor in the world, like Guinness Book of World Records, straight up. So yeah, Spike Spiegel. This is obviously his biggest role, but you've probably almost anything you've seen, you've probably heard him somewhere. He's been in a lot of games, movies, shows, a lot of things.
And for the young boys, Spike Spiegel is the main character of Cowboy Bebop.
Man, either I'm really old or the weeb generation of today is just not what I thought it was.
Bro,
I'm being a little judgmental. I'm not gonna lie.
We're gonna educate you on how to become proper weebs.
But yeah, this will be educational then. Just
if you call yourself a weeb because you've went to a convention once and you watch Naruto and One Piece and Bleach and Fairy Tail,
we're about to up your game. You're gonna level up your game. But yeah, so I met him. We were talking a little bit. And we discussed a couple of his roles, and I mentioned Scryed, or Scryed, if you want to pronounce it with the hyphens.
You know how many people know about...
Like two in the world.
Yeah. I'm one of them.
Yeah, and Steve Bloom is one of them, because I mentioned it, and he immediately, without any pause or hesitation, did a shell bullet line for me. No prompt whatsoever. He just got a smile on his face when I mentioned it, and did the shell bullet, and I was like, bro. And I was like, not only do you remember this thing from 20 years ago that nobody ever talks about, because everybody's obviously asking, bang. Right?
Yeah.
As always, I think he actually has the tattoo of the voice line of Bang.
Nice.
It's the like sound waves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and he did that, and I was just like, dude, this is so cool. Just unprompted, he did this voice line of a show I liked, and we had like this cool moment together.
Yeah.
And he was just so upbeat. His attitude was so great, and I loved that. Yeah.
You know who I would love to meet? I don't know if you've ever watched G Gundam.
I don't remember which. I've watched 2 or 3 different.
Oh my gosh! So in the series, the English voice actor, who I actually don't know the name of, one of his finishing moves is called Shining Finger. So every time he uses it, he yells it out, "Shining Finger!"
That's an unspoken rule of anime. Is to use any powerful move, you have to shout the name of the move first.
And I'm like, is that supposed to be like some kind of sexual innuendo? But it's
probably just an odd translation, because some things in Japanese, they're just like, wow, this is really cool, but then in American we have different meanings or different insinuations of words, and we're like, wow, bro, that's a little messed up. But not everybody, like, from one language to another knows that. And then there's also translations where people intentionally are like, how can I slip this in here? Because, you know, human beings, we fuck off.
It's funny that you say that, because Mazinger Z, one of the robot's moves is called breast fire. It literally translates to breast fire.
Now I'm having second thoughts about taking a sip of my chalky milk. Let me just have some breast fire real quick.
Yeah, it's called breast fire. Oh, it's hilarious. I like that. That's a cool memory, man. Yeah, especially to meet somebody who's been in the industry forever and who's made such an impact, especially here in the West, bro. Yeah. You know, he's so
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Toonami, the voice of Toonami. If you watch
voice of Toonami, that's
he's
him.
The voice of Toonami.
Yeah, if you didn't connect, what was his name?
Which one?
Do you remember the Toonami robot's name?
Oh, I do not.
Yeah.
But another voice actor I actually met, had a fun memory with. It was the voice actress of Asuka, the Japanese, the original voice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I actually like the English VA of Asuka. I think she's fantastic.
But I met the Japanese VA, and it was at the time I was actually studying Japanese pretty consistently. So I was able to make like basic conversation and stuff. And then when I went to one of her panels and she was speaking, the translator was talking in place of her, obviously. Yeah. And she started getting like really excited about the subject she was talking on, so she was speaking faster, and the translator was kind of starting to hesitate. And I heard the, I can't remember her name, the voice actress, the Seiyu for Asuka, and that makes me feel bad.
Oh, that's the word, Seiyu, yeah.
Seiyu, yeah. But she turned and she was like, oh, hey, are you okay, in Japanese? And so I started laughing before it was translated. And like when I was laughing, people like looked at me like, "Why are you laughing?" And then the translator said, "Oh, she just asked me if it was okay because I couldn't keep up." Yeah. And then everybody else laughed, and I was like, "I'm ahead of the game, yay!" Wow. But I haven't studied Japanese in like 4 or 5 years, so I don't know shit now.
Yeah, I gave up when my sensei was like, "All right, time to learn kanji," and I was like,
"Yeah, kanji's rough."
You mean I gotta get each stroke just right, or else you mark me
in
down?
the correct direction?
In the correct direction, in the correct
even
order.
If you get the strokes right, you have to do it in the right direction and order. Like, god damn, so, some of these characters have like 20 plus strokes. It's like,
So my respect to anybody who engages in, what is it called?
Japanese?
No. The
Nihongo?
No. There's a profession, right? Where you're professional.
Oh, script, calligraphy.
Calligraphy. There you go. Really, props to anybody who.
That's true. It did give me a better appreciation for that.
Yeah, because writing, if you think just learning the kanji is difficult, imagine having to write it properly. It is extremely difficult. Language is already difficult enough, especially if you're trying to learn it when you're a little bit older.
Yeah.
So anybody who has the patience and the tenacity to stick with a language like Japanese and learning kanji, like, props to you guys, because that's not an easy language to learn.
Yeah, the structure is completely different than English. The number system is different than English. Like, there's like nothing that directly you can't directly translate English and Japanese. It has to be literally interpreted, not literally translated. But yeah, so how about you? What kind of fancy memories you got?
This one really stuck out to me. It's the one that always comes up in my head whenever I think what's my favorite memory, or just the most profound memory that I have when it comes to anime. When I was younger, this was back when I was living in Jersey still. And I used to live in Jersey City, New Jersey.
That's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very unfortunate. But I made a lot of good memories there. Met my best friend there. Met my first mentor there. So I don't have. I'm not gonna bag on it too much. But when I was younger, when I was still in Jersey, I was a much bigger fan of Pokemon than I am now. I'm still a big Pokemon fan, but I stopped playing after
Smash Up.
Yeah, Critters and Smash Up. Yeah. I stopped playing after the 5th gen. But I'm still a big fan of Pokemon. But back then, I was a huge Pokemon fan, huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan. And my room was all Pokemon. Merchandise, posters, clothing, the cards, you name it, I had it. And I think this was when I was in my early teens. So I was already, I believe, I was either in 8th grade or about to enter high school. Or I was already in high school. My mom came into my room, and she saw all this Pokemon merchandise. And she told me, hey, aren't you worried that, or something along the lines of, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was something along the lines of, haven't you outgrown this already? Or like, aren't you worried that you're ever going to outgrow this? And I straight up, I didn't even acknowledge that she was in the room. I was like, Ma, I'm never going to outgrow this. I'm always going to love this no matter what. And here we are, I'm 31 years old, and I still fucking love it. And
hosting a damn podcast about it.
Yes, and my love for it has it's become more profound. Right, so like you said, doing a podcast about it. Mm-hmm. If you guys would come to our house, you'd know immediately as soon as you walk in the door.
Even before you got in the door, there's an Hitachi floor mat.
Yeah, this is a Weeb house, right? We have one of my favorite pieces of artwork. I have a recreation of the Last Supper over our dinner table, and it's all of the shonen heroes. That's how much of a fan we are.
Magnificent.
Yeah, it's just pretty damn cool. But yeah, man, that's my favorite anime memory, and I think that wraps it up pretty nicely for our first for our pilot episode here.
Yeah, I mean, we were able to get through the subject matter, the future episodes. We were able to get through a little bit about us.
Yeah,
and we went off on a few tangents that would give you a taste of future episodes. So.
Yeah. So we really hope that you guys enjoyed that, and we are very excited to share more of this with you because we love the culture, we love the medium, we take it very seriously, and we enjoy it a lot, and we want to share it with as much people as possible. I always joke with folks, I've never met a person who liked anime that I didn't like. Like, you're a good person if you live.
I have. I've been in the community a little too involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we look forward to giving you guys more episodes and to sharing a lot more anime and manga and just the culture and the industry in general as a whole.
Yeah, doing the deep dives is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to give a lot of really insightful information.
Yeah.
We'll definitely go into a lot of topics about like the convention and cosplay communities and anything tangential to anime. Yep. We're gonna hit it all.
Yeah, we're gonna hit every single one of it, and we're gonna bring in other people to to come and talk to you guys about it. We're gonna have guests. Like I said, the community here in Arizona is massive, so I don't think we'll have any trouble finding people who wants to come on and talk about their favorite shows,
here in
their
the digital age,
their husbandos, all that stuff,
And with the digital age, we'd always have call-ins. So
yeah, precisely.
Sure.
All right, guys. So once again, thank you for tuning in. If you guys want to follow us on social media, I am at agent_JSCHROTH. That's probably going to change sometime soon to reflect the Weeb the people. But that's where you can find me. Robert, where can the peoples when we're working with the Weebles? Should we call them the
Weebles? Do you want to be our Weebles? Tell us, and
Right.
a poll will probably launch.
All right. So could you tell the Weebles where to find you?
This is fun. Weebles. Like,
That's
cute.
I just thought of that
I like it.
with my tiny brain here.
Hey, a couple brain cells is all you need sometimes.
Yes.
As long
I
as
think I
they-
just used one for that.
It's efficient.
The other one was being used to breathe.
Efficient. But yeah, so I'm currently only on Instagram at cars_and_cosplay. I may add a the in the beginning of that to really stand out from the other cars and cosplays.
Yes. Oh, there are others? Fuck those
At least
guys.
one of them follows me. I mean, it's cool. I love seeing more of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
All right.
I'm not so insecure that I think what I do is what makes me me. I feel like if other people do it, that just adds to the community. It doesn't prevent me from being good at it.
It's a good outlook.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining us, and we will
absolutely.
see you next time.
I cannot wait to see you again.